Well, hi guys, welcome back to Pure Prison. We are going to be doing a phenomenal interview tonight. I hope you like the new background. My son did that, and I just want to say thank you, Christopher, for helping your old mama over Easter weekend. Yeah, he did it. All right, so we're going to be interviewing tonight, or actually just sitting in that living room chilling with Brandy. She's an amazing person. I got to speak with her briefly before tonight's interview, so I do have some questions for her. And I'm going to let her explain a little bit about how we connected later. We actually I put out the all call for, please, if you've been incarcerated or you have something to say, reach out to me, and she did. And of course, I had a lot of people reach out, so we were going back and forth, and then we never got to hook up. So finally, we did, and it all happened over YouTube. That's right. So hold on just a second, and we're going to go ahead and bring her on in here. Brandy, hi. It's so nice to have you in today.
Yay. Here.
Okay. And actually, before we start this show, I'm going to pop this up really quick. This entire show tonight is going to be dedicated to Melanie Creel. This is Brandy's best friend, and she will be speaking a little bit about that tonight because it's important and it needs to be heard. So this entire show is dedicated to Melanie. All right. So okay. So let's see. You contacted me. What did they call this? DM? You DM'd me or you IM'd me? What did you do to me? You did something.
I think you did both of them. I did you.
So anyway, so she did, and tell them what it was over. What was this thing that got your attention a little bit?
I saw you reaching out talking about some of the injustice and the incorrectness we have in our correction system. And that's why at first I had messaged you briefly about that, and then we lost touch. And then I was bored and like binging and watching YouTube. And I guess like the Lord intervened with YouTube and put this dog pound movie in my feed. So I watched it, and when I watched it, it was so gut-wrenching, literally. Like it made me want to throw up. It was so real. Anybody who's been incarcerated for any amount of time and seen what really happens, a lot of people are demonized because of the mistakes that they made, but they don't understand. A lot of the times we're driven to be that demon by society. And that movie just kind of put some light on what kids go through when they're introduced to the system at such a young age. And that made me want to reach back out and speak what I have seen and what I have endured myself, because there is so much incorrect things in the Department of Corrections. It's not even fucking funny. I mean, they're starting to touch on prison reform. We are literally the most incarcerated country per capita in the world. For some of the stupidest things, especially like weed. I know people serving some serious fucking time for selling green. It's legal now. It's medicine.
Which needs to go back. They need to be resentenced and adjust lab. Okay, let's just say that real quick. But so I want to go back a little bit. When Brandy reached out to me about this movie Dog Pound, I haven't had a lot of time, honestly, to just. I love movies, girl. I love it. Ooh, I love to binge watch Queen of the South, all that stuff. I love it. I'm in like Queen. But when I tell you I haven't had a single minute to watch a stinking movie in weeks, and it's been incredible. I love it. I do love it because this is my passion. This is my passion. But I'm going to tell you something. It literally made me stop, because when a woman who has been incarcerated, because I know how that feels, reaches out to me and says, hey, I have something to say. And then she reaches back out to me and says, hey, man, I watched this movie, and it touched an inner part of me so deep that I really think you should watch it, but I have something to say. I want to talk to you. And I immediately wrote her back, and it happened to be last Friday night. Yes, on a Friday. That's right. I'm cooking dinner, and I was grabbing me a plate, girl, and I sat down. Yes. And I told her, I said, I'm going to grab my plate and I'm going to sit down and watch this movie. And I'll tell you, I did. It threw me and the movie, again, is on YouTube, and its name is Dog Pound. Dog Pound. Everybody go and see it. And it's not for kids. Oh, no. God. do not, and let me put my big old face up here by myself. Do not have your children watch this. Don't have them watch this. I don't care if they belong. If you think that they need to go to juvenile detention right now, don't have your children watch this movie. Just don't. That's my
No,
personal public broadcast. It's disturbing. As a grown woman who's been there,
like I said, it'll turn your insides out. I mean, I think it would touch people that have never even been in that situation because it is so real. And
if it doesn't touch someone who even hasn't been in that situation or hasn't had a loved one in that situation, there's a problem with the way that you're thinking in your heart.
I say that a lot. People are like, what's wrong with this world? This is my little Brandy input. I think that humans have gotten so far away from humanity. You know, like we forget to humanize those that we don't understand. And we're taught that something we don't understand is something to fear. Okay, that is not something to fear, that is something to embrace. If you don't understand something, that means it's something you can learn from, something that can help you grow, something that can broaden your horizons, open your perspective. So if you don't understand something, you shouldn't fear it. You should embrace it, and you should step back and stop talking and listen.
And listen.
So when you repeat what you know. When you listen, you learn.
Exactly. And I've had so many conversations over the last week about this. I've been guilty of it myself until I went to prison, you know?
That's how we all.
You know? Who hasn't? But you go and you see it and you come out. If you don't come out with a whole new mindset, well, I don't know what the hell happened to you up in there, but
okay, that part.
But
I mean, I try to tell people, like, a lot of people now try to put people down that have addiction and have been in the criminal justice system, but they don't understand, had they been dealt a different hand in this life, there's a very good possibility they would have been in the same shoes, if not in a worse place. Like, you never know which way your life would have gone had circumstances not played out like they did. Yeah. And people are addicts and held like prisoners with so many things in the flesh. You know, people are work junkies, they're exercise junkies, they're friggin' Bitcoin junkies, they're Facebook junkies. Maybe not flat out junkies. Yeah, but I mean, like, we're all junkies of some sort. Come on now. Come on. Yeah. Let's be real. And just because it happened to me or it happened to that kid down the street, it could be you or your kid. You know?
Exactly. And except for those circumstances, it could be that one bad night. And I've heard so many women and so many men who were doing victim impact statements or something, you know, and speaking or in, oh my gosh, in classes about that.
It takes your soul up, man. It does. It takes your soul up. But, you know, my first experience with crime and being a felon, I was 18. And I just graduated high school. I was driving on a suspended license because I had a family member who, when I first got my license, got me involved in drug trafficking. Now, I didn't get in trouble on that tip, but I got a suspended license coming back from down south with a car full of cocaine. And I talked it off and just got a ticket where people were supposed to pay for it. And instead, my license got suspended. Well, I hit a man and killed him the year I graduated high school on Big Middle. And this was actually the first time that I saw God's love. And that's something I definitely had to speak on, because had it not been for God's love, everybody's like, I found God. I'm like, well, God found me. Like, taking in it's such a dummy, you know, and so lost. And when I hear the song Amazing Grace, it touches parts of me that I don't think I could ever even show another person. You know,
every time.
It really is something that is, and people talk about miracles and mountain moves. Like, I am that. I was that mountain.
Yeah.
You know, and God is good enough that I was able to take what I've been through, and I've actually been able to, like, become some kind of a street lawyer, I guess, and help some people that were in bad situations, and get them help instead of just getting caught up in becoming somebody with another DOC number. But anyway, but when I was 18, I hit someone and killed them. And it destroyed me in so many ways that I can't even understand. But it was the first time that I saw God's love, even though at the time I didn't recognize what that was. You know, his family, I was sober. I stopped and got help. And his family, like they were forgiving from the get-go. And I didn't understand what that was. I didn't understand what unconditional love was. And that set a trajectory for me, like with a bullet when fired off. It set a trajectory of me to go down this road that I never would have understood. And for years, I did the right thing, and I stayed sober, and I worked, and I went to school. Actually, like when I was talking about being addicted to anything, I was addicted to making up for that accident. You know, I worked at my local humane society. I worked 2 jobs and went to school full time while I had a foster child. And
wow,
she's doing so good now. But I had a foster child, and I had my grandmother and my aunt in wheelchairs at home. I killed myself trying to make up for the death that I caused. And I didn't understand then. I thought I had killed all those parts of me that they would never come back. And, you know, I did good for so long until something bad happened, as is life. And when something bad happened, I was sent right back down that trajectory with like a vengeance almost. You know, because all the wounds that I didn't heal and all of the truth that I didn't face and all the trauma I didn't want to hold hands with became such a part of me that it almost overcame me. And that's what led me to going to prison. I was 31 when I went to prison. Definitely not
late for you too. All of mine.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I started early, but it didn't catch up till late. They talk about karma. Man, it's only a bitch if you are.
Ooh, ouch. That's a good one. Gonna use that sometime.
That's real right there. Karma's only a bitch if you are, man. So I'm gonna tell you what, God's been good to me. Like right now, I'm sitting in my little porch with my little plants.
I know that's right.
And I got all my little pit bulls. Come on, guys. My little
doggies. Look at these guys.
Yeah. And that's my Denali out there. And, you know, like, life is good in so many ways. But I think only because I remain good even in those times when I was told I was nothing but bad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You kept having faith and hope. So, yeah. You had, I want to talk about, I want to talk about a couple things. I do want the public to know, and one of my main things is letting them know that inside bad things happen.
Yes.
And I'm not asking you for details, but can you just give it like on a scale of 1 to 10, like just how bad are the things that happen? And let's just compare it to this movie. Let's just say, let's not take details because we don't need all the details. They can watch the movie themselves.
I'll say that it was fucking par for the course. I mean, it was so real. It was par for the course. I mean, there aren't any words that I could say like it was better or it was worse. It was so accurate. It was disgusting to me. That's why I called it gut wrenching. It was so fucking accurate. The abuse of power and the they tell you to have faith in the system, but when you put your faith in something that's done nothing but to fucking degrade you and destroy you, it's very hard. Yeah, it brings you down. It's very hard to respect that and want to do right by that when it seems like it's a system designed to bring you further down from the bad place you already were. Because anybody I know that has ended up in the correction system has done so from a place of darkness. And it's like you think you know the depths of hell until you get to fucking the basement, you know? So, I mean, the movie was, it was accurate, unfortunately.
Okay. And like I said, I want everybody that's watching this right now to go and watch that movie. And it's dead on balls. And I want you to literally take heed to the part where there is a young man, when you see his psyche it breaks.
Right.
His psyche, you can only take so much as a human being, okay? Now, you can take a lot more as an adult than you can a kid.
Yep.
And this is what we're facing here in our society, and this is what we say. We all say that this is okay. And we must all say it because this is how we're still doing it. But there's people like us who are going to stand up and say, hey, now's the time of action. We need to move now, and we need to move in masses, and we need to get together and do this.
And it's not a matter of overthrowing. Like I
No,
literally,
no.
I've been threatened. I'll just go ahead and say it. Fuck these motherfuckers. I'll go ahead and say it. Like I've been threatened. They're like, hey, your words carry weight. You need to watch what you say. They're like, knowledge is deadly, or not, knowledge is dangerous. I'm like, well, fucking ignorance is deadly. I'm like, so maybe. I mean, if conventional methods aren't working, which obviously they're not, look at the state of the world.
Right.
It's an epic fucking failure.
Something new
You
has happened.
can't take somebody that's, you know, when you take somebody that's seen nothing but like the darkest parts of life and put them in an environment that makes them see things like, you talk about 50 shades, not even of gray, of the blackest black you could ever even understand. Where people who are officers and people that are entrusted with your care and correction are the ones that are manipulating you and trying to force you to do things that go against everything within your being.
Even there, it still goes against your being.
Yes, like even as bad as you thought you were, you ain't fucking seen bad. Like you ain't seen bad, man.
No, because you aren't bad. You might have thought you were bad or you did bad. There's always worse, and I'm here to tell you there's always worse.
Bad. I try to tell people that now. They're gonna threaten me. I'm like, what on me? I'm like, you ain't even seen. Well, I'm like, you ain't seen the shit that I've seen, and I ain't even seen it all.
Now let's talk a little bit about. I'm sorry. Go ahead, honey.
I was gonna say when I first got to prison, I was like, oh, I don't belong here. I don't belong here, and I got sent down to Homestead, which is like in the penis tip of Florida. It's next to Miami-Dade CI, and I was sent there.
It is the hottest place.
Yes, it is. I was sent there to work in classification, so I actually worked in the inner workings of the prison.
No.
And when I got there, I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't belong here. And then I met these girls that were Islanders that were like Haitian and Dominican. And they had literally been brought up as prostitutes. I mean, since they were like 3 and 4 years old. I mean, since they were little bitty babies. Like their family had pimped them out and they were born addicted to crack. And see, I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel good about the family member who got me trafficking. But that wasn't my whole life. My mom was great. You know, my papa and my grandma was great, and I had so many positive influences, you know, and, you know, by the time I went to prison, I was fucking 30. I was over 30. I was an adult. I chose to do wrong.
Making your own choices. Yeah.
Yeah. But I met these girls that, like, they were so young, and they had never had a fucking choice. Like, all they knew was wrong and crime and prostitution and philandering and shit that I would have never even imagined, you know, and by the time I left there, I was like, man, if anybody ever been deserving of prison, it was my stupid ass because I had so many opportunities handed me in life, and I decided to just throw them away because I wanted to be hard. I wanted to be in the streets. I want to be bleh.
Oh, you're not. I got it. I know. Me too. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about addiction inside of prison, and not so much inside. Let me rephrase that. I want to talk about addiction in general and how many people got there because of their addiction.
So many more than I ever care to admit it. Like I had a lot of people. I just very open. Like I haven't just worn my heart on my sleeve and wore my DOC number on my sleeve. Like it's nothing that I mean I'm not proud of it, but it's nothing that I hide.
It is nothing you need to be ashamed of either, sweetie.
Well, but because I feel like if I speak my mind, because like I said, my words carry weight. But it's only the way that anybody assigns to them. And if anybody listens and maybe even takes like a half a piece of something that I say and applies it in their life, and it makes a tiny bit of difference, then all the suffering and all the wrongdoing I did kind of serves a purpose.
Right. And you're trying to leave this place a better place.
Yeah. I mean, like, who knows why it all happens or whatever. But I mean, I feel that when we live our life in secret, a lot of times you can end up like Melanie, you know, my friend that chose to take her life because she didn't want her family and everyone in her circle to have to face the reality of the lifestyle she was living. You know, she decided to kill herself and instead of being deported and having to go to Germany and having to leave the life.
Just a little bit of background, just
Melanie.
To tell them about Melanie.
Yeah, this is about
Melanie Creel. She was going to be deported. Okay, so she's facing a prison sentence. Okay, now the worst of it, her children, right? child?
Her
But
children,
they're American born.
yeah,
Where
they're
are they?
American born German citizens. So had she been deported as a kid, yeah, she would have served her time, and then she would have went back to Germany. And her children would have, they would have had to stay in the U.S. and have to have lived in the aftermath and the shadow of their mother going to prison.
Right.
So instead of that, she decided to take her own life because of the stigma and because of the ridiculing and because of all the heartache she thought it would cause. She thought a better answer would be to just stop living. And I think that's something a lot of people need to understand. There are so many people that face battles and struggle with demons that you are not privy to. Not everybody literally wears their demon on their shoulders, where you can see that they're battling these things. A lot of people aren't, and it's not that they're not strong enough. It's not that they're not honest enough. It's just that they're on different, they're in different places on that path of dealing with that. And, darkness is a scary thing.
It is so scary. And the other thing is there's so many women in prison who haven't even come to the realization in their own head yet that it was because of their addiction, that why their crimes stem from their addiction. And it takes people a while sometimes to get that. And sometimes they don't.
And I think that's, like I was talking to you in our pre-interview, there's a war on drugs, but there's not a war on trauma. There's not a war on abuse. There's not a war on all the things that lead us to the path of feeling like we need a substance or an activity to numb ourselves to this pain that we've been exposed to. Right. And I think therein lies the problem. We're attacking the unhealthy coping mechanism. We're not attacking the underlying issues that drive us to reach for that unhealthy coping mechanism. And I think that's why has been very unsuccessful, because they're not addressing the real issue. If you want to solve a problem, you need to get to its root. Right.
And again, here's one of my main things, and I am going to go back to my friends at Society First. This is a social issue. Okay.
Absolutely.
This is a social issue. It goes back to our communities and our government before crimes are committed, and when they're first starting, and you see this. Why are we not looking into what's happening right now in this human being's life?
The driving factor.
What's the driving factor behind it?
The driving factor.
Right. Now, and that is going to be
that I want to be a junkie. I don't know anybody who woke up and said I want to be a junkie.
I know, that's what I said. One more time.
I said I don't know anybody who woke up and said I want to be a junkie.
Right.
Ever.
And we're looking at, and I'm going to say it, bad backlash I'm going to get, gangs, drugs.
Yes.
All of it in the neighborhoods.
What drives you there? What drives you there?
Right.
That's the fucking problem.
What's going on? What's happening? It's just a breakdown of the whole social fabric. And I think that we really need to get back people and start having better hearts and being more compassionate.
And start having conversations.
And it is now coming out more, way more, celebrities now, and you've seen it over the recent years, but that's cool. But why? Where's the solution?
It doesn't come out until something tragic happens. It never comes out when they're whooping and out there in the limelight and everything's great. It comes out when they fly off the handles and kill their baby mama, or freaking kill themselves, or get involved in some big. It's always got to come to some tragic point, and it doesn't have to be that, because it's like it people act like they're so far removed from this fucking problem.
Right.
It's in the next room. It's literally in the room next to you. It's in the fucking mirror. It's looking right back at you. Like,
whoa,
that's something we're removed from. This is something staring you in your fucking face. Like, it just as easy it was me and it was my best friend. It could have been any of you had you been dealt a tiny bit different hand in life. And that's the problem. people have been taught that these things are so taboo and they're so wrong that they can't be a part of them. Well, whether you like it or not, this is life as we know it. This is reality. And
life on life's terms.
Yeah, whether you want to admit to it or own up to it, you're a cat hair away. You're a cat hair away from having to slap you in the face. But it doesn't have to be that drastic. If people would pay a little bit more attention and just be a little bit more honest with what they've been through, and maybe what their point of origin was that drove them there.
Yep. Got it. Brandy, it has been an absolute pleasure having you here today. I love that smile, girl, and I love that haircut. Love it. I love your doggy too. Look at that. So listen, we are going to go ahead and close out today. Brandy, it was amazing. Thank you for touching base.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
And listen, sometime in the future, I'm going to reach out to you because we're going to meet. You and I are going to get together, okay?
That would be awesome. I would love that.
I would love it. I'll hit you up.
All right. Thank you so much, Ty.
So much.
You guys, have a good one.
You too. I just heed every single person right now to go and watch this movie that we've been talking about. If it doesn't stir something in you emotionally, then you don't even need to tune into this channel ever again. Ever. I don't have that many subscribers anyway, so I can say whatever I want to say right now. And the other thing that I'm going to urge you guys to do is please go to Society First. This is, once again, the most eloquent, well put together plan that I have seen, that I've read, and I've been reading a lot lately. Believe me, I'm on it. It not only identifies each problem that we're facing inside of the walls, it gives you a plan of action for every single one. Right now, there is a program called Ron. I urge you again to go and look at that, and I appreciate it. You guys, remember, peace or pain. You have a choice. Every single decision that you make throughout your day is going to bring you one or the other. I hope you've enjoyed tonight, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys. All right.